back with my review of Sword Art Online Volume 1 by Reki Kawahara. Now, you guys have probably heard about the anime, because it's everywhere. They have Sword Art Online and Sword Art Online 2. Each anime covers multiple arcs. The first anime, Sword Art Online, covers the Aincrad arc and the Alfheim arc. And then Sword Art Online 2 covers the Gun Gale arc, and then an arc, or a piece of a story from, Alfheim, from the Alfheim arc, and then also has the Mother's Rosaria arc, and ends at the end of Mother's Rosario, whatever. And then they finally they're talking about making Sword Art Online 3, I guess, the third season, and that's gonna follow the Alicization arc, which is the longest arc in the series right now, because almost all the other arcs only span 1 or 2 books, and this one is currently spanning 3. But the books actually came first. A lot of people don't know that Sword Art Online was originally started by the novel Sword Art Online by Reki Kawahara, not the manga. It was a light novel, so it was written, without pictures, that he actually did for a contest. But then when he wrote it, it ended up being too long for the contest, and so he submitted a different book and wrote, and then continued to write the Sword Art Online series. Now, Sword Art Online, the anime, has a lot wrong with it for various reasons. I actually really like the first arc, the Aincrad arc, although there are some things in it that I don't like. The second arc, Alfheim, messes up a lot. There's a lot of things in it that I don't like, although they don't really start to bug the shit out of me until the second to last episode. Y'all who have seen it, you all know what I'm talking about, but we're not here to talk about that specific thing today. But because I like the concept and I like the characters, and so I wanted to read the books. And so I actually ended up, because I found them all for super, super cheap, I actually got Sword Art Online Volumes 1 through 10, which goes from the Aincrad arc all the way through the middle of the Alicization arc. And then I got Sword Art Online Progressive Volumes 1 through 4, which are the only ones that are out right now, because I didn't know until I read Sword Art Online Volume 1 that the entirety of the first arc is in the first book. It ends with the first book. But the thing is that there's this huge jump. So actually, let me back up. So Sword Art Online is about this game called Sword Art Online, and when it's released, it's what's called a full dive VR MMO. And basically what it is, it's like, imagine if The Matrix were a game, and you could, switch it on and off whenever you wanted. That's what Sword Art Online is like, except it's specifically a fantasy world. And so, 10,000 people are they're going to be the first ones to pre-order the game, and so they all log in the day that it's released. All 10,000 of them, as unrealistic as that is, all 10,000 of them log in the day that it's released, and then it turns out that the guy who designed the game, what's his name, Kaiba Akihiko, actually designed it so that once you logged in, you couldn't log out, and if you die in the game, you die in real life. And so these people are trapped in the game for almost 3 years, because the only way to get out is to beat the final boss. So that's the basic plot of Sword Art Online. Now, the thing that I liked is, and obviously because there's further arcs, obviously they get out, right? The thing that I liked was that, first of all, at least in the way that it was presented to me at first, I thought that Kirito, the main character, shared the spotlight the entire time with Asuna, the female lead, which I later found out was not true. But that was one of the reasons I really wanted to watch it and then read it, was because I heard that Asuna gets more time in the books than she does in the anime. Turns out that's actually not true, which I found out after I read Volume 1. So actually, most of the characters don't get the book is actually not very good. I enjoyed it because it wasn't very long, and I could picture, once Asuna showed up, I got more invested in it, but for the most part, we don't get to spend, and also, whenever a character that I knew from the anime popped up in the book, I would be like, oh, it's them! But for the most part, the book actually wasn't very good, because it squashes, 16 episodes into, 200 pages. There's a huge time jump from the day that he logs in until suddenly they've been there for 2 years. And it's like, what happened in those 2 years? And like, as a fan of the anime, I already know.
Okay, well, they beat the boss, and the first floor boss, and I know how that went down. And they, he met up with the Moonlit Black Cats, and they all died, and I know how that went down. And I know how he met this person, and I know how this happened, and blah blah blah. And I know about this, and I know about that because I saw it in the anime.
But none of that stuff is in the book. And I was surprised, especially because each book is called Sword Art Online Volume, insert the number, and then a title, and it's the whatever game he's in, basically. So like the first volume is Sword Art Online Volume 1 Aincrad, but then the second volume is Sword Art Online Volume 2 Aincrad. And then the third one is Fairy Dance, and the fourth one is Fairy Dance, and I think the fifth one is Phantom Bullet, and then the sixth one is Phantom Bullet, and then the seventh one is Mother's Rosario, and then the eighth one is is an anthology with different stories from various arcs, and then the ninth one is when the Alicization arc starts. So I was actually like really shocked. I'm like,
Wait, what about this? What about that?
and so I was actually very disappointed in the book. Unfortunately, I'd already bought them all already, but then I found out, except for the progressive volumes. But then I found out actually that a lot of the stuff that I was like, wait, what about this, happened later in Volume 2, and it was one of those like, okay, Volume 2 takes place during Volume 1. So that was, nice, but at the same time, I'm like,
Books in America are a lot better. Sorry.
they're a lot longer, for one thing. I thought it was very obvious that some of the word choice wasn't that great. Maybe it was like, maybe the words that he used in Japanese were one of those words that doesn't have a direct translation into English, and so they used like the next best thing, but whatever word they used, it didn't work. That happened a lot. Kirito is a lot more socially awkward and kind of a dick in the book. He's not a dick on purpose, but he's a dick because he's socially awkward and doesn't know any better. And also, I think, and then also part of it is he's very standoffish, and I think that might be part of the Japanese culture coming through, because obviously I'm American, and I'm also a very affectionate, very open, very talkative. I don't hide things. I'm very open with people. I communicate. I'm a hugger, and I don't hide my feelings from people. I'm actually very bad at that. I had to learn how to not show fear and pain and anguish and, that I was ready to rip out somebody's tongue when I was a kid, but like happiness and stuff and being curious about things, as I've gotten older, I've broken down those barriers. And when I learned to hide the things that I hid about myself, that wasn't a cultural thing. That was specific to my living situation at the time. I was in a very unsafe environment, and I couldn't really be emotionally open. So, like, Kirito being like that, and then having all these feelings and not, like, talking about them, or having these thoughts that you don't see in the anime, because the anime is cinematic point of view, so you see the actions, but not really the thoughts very often. Because of course there's always going to be like that voiceover thinking that happens sometimes, but not, so much really. It's not very common. Whereas the book is first person from Kirito's point of view. So obviously we're going to get his thoughts. And he's not as nice in the book as he is in the anime. He's not as much of a dick as he is in Sword Art Online Abridged,
Which, by the way, is fucking awesome. Oh my god, I love that. I love that show. I think I've watched it like a good 15 or 20 times. I'm gonna put a link to the first episode in the doobly-doo because it's hilarious.
Oh my god, Something Witty Entertainment is my jam, and I cannot wait for episode 12. They covered the entirety of the Aincrad arc. I can't wait to see what they do with the Alfheim arc, because I liked the Aincrad arc, and they still managed to make it better while abridging it and poking it full of holes, but I didn't love the Alfheim arc, and I'm hoping they can make me love it. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so basically my review of Sword Art Online Volume 1 is it's not as good as the anime, and that's sad. And it's definitely not as good as the abridged, which is even sadder. It's not terrible, but I feel like if it had been written, if a similar concept, if like the exact same concept had been written by an American or a British or Australian author, or basically any, like, I don't have a lot of experience with authors from other countries other than Canada, America, Mexico, Britain, and Australia, but anyone from one of those 5 countries probably could have done this better. That's my review of the book. I am glad that I own it because I really like the series, but I do not like the book more than I like the show. by a lot, and I do not like the book more than I like the abridged, also by a lot. So, yeah, that's how I feel about Sword Art Online 1. If you are a diehard fan of the show, I would recommend you get the book. I would not recommend you pay, like, $15 for it, but I would recommend that you get it. The art is pretty. There's art on the cover, and there's, like, art inserts at the beginning, and those are pretty. And, again, diehard fan, get the book. I'm a diehard fan, so I do not regret buying the book, and I got it used, so I'm not regretting the money that I spent on it. It's just not as good as I was hoping. Anyway, thanks for listening. That was my review of Sword Art Online Volume 1, Aincrad by Reki Kawahara. Let me know what you think. If you guys like the book, if you guys like the anime, if you don't like the book, if you don't like the anime, if you guys have watched the abridged or you plan to watch the abridged, let me know what you guys think. And, like, comment, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!